just trying to have a good time, and you, idiot, you just want to ruin it.
I still want to run the imports. Racing is what I'm about.
I'm just trying to have a good time, and you, idiot, you just want to ruin it.
I'll say it as well. I'm just trying to have a good time, and you, idiot, you just want to ruin it. Ladies and gentlemen, it comes to the subject I want to talk about for a very long time. No, not this woman from Midnight Club 2, but she's got a valid point 20 plus years later. Hello everybody, welcome to a special edition of AJ42K Productions. I am your host, AJ42K. Everyone, we are now officially gone full trigger mode from both sides of the political party. I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, middle of the ground, Libertarian, other party, marijuana party, whatever party you identify as politics. People, you people, all of you people, me included, need to learn this now, and there are two subjects I want to bring up: good etiquette and respect. I think everybody knows that one already, because, well, maybe not the people that are far left or far right, because they're so privileged and they think everything offends them, and the other doesn't care about their other people's feelings. So I want to say this right now. To you far left Democrats and to you far right Republicans, you are both the problem. One thinks you should go to church, praise Jesus, Trump is God, you better respect the police, and back the blue. While the other says, defund the police, you better respect my sex change or homosexuality or whatever, or race or whatever. And then somehow also glorifies that, doesn't respect other people, and also on top of that is very anti-Christian and hates men. So there's no happy medium. No happy medium. Tulsi Gabbard used to be a Democrat, and she's now a Republican, or whatever she is now. Tulsi Gabbard, I voted for her in 2020 when she still was the candidate for presidency. She was the last surviving woman in the 2020 debates, in the 2020 presidential, the race to be the road to the White House. She was the very last woman to survive behind Bernie and Biden. Had if not George Floyd happened around June or May of 2020, this would have been the talk of the whole entire year, and let alone COVID, but off the point. I'm just trying to have a good time, and you idiot, you just want to ruin it. Remember that quote later on. Back to the politics. Every person, whether Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative, independent, legalized marijuana party, nonpartisan, whatever, can agree to on this. Everybody can agree to on this, me included. If you don't vote, you have no reason to complain. I agree 100%. But these people here, whether Trump supporter or Biden supporter, don't understand, or whatever party they are, don't understand that there's more than just two people. You can vote for Green Party, whatever that is, and Libertarian. Last year, I'll tell you who I voted for. I did not vote for Trump, and I definitely did not vote for Biden either. They both are terrible on both situations of the political party. One glorifies Trump, he's a felon, and while the other doesn't know where the hell he is. Two grumpy old men can't let go of garbage or whatever. Trump especially. Now Biden's out of the picture. Now you got Kamala, whatever her name is. Kamala, however she pronounces it. She's not any better than Biden. She's worse than Biden. Trump, don't get me started with that guy. He's guilty. But these people who glorify Trump, it's fake news, witch hunt. Everything is a witch hunt. But if it was Biden, you people wouldn't shut up about it and you would go crazy, batshit crazy on that. While you Democrats, if it's a straight white man, which I'm not I'm a straight Hispanic man off the point. If it's a straight white man doing something, you would put that person down. We have become more divided in a country than invited. Your sex change does not get respect, and you need to stop glorifying someone that isn't God. Trump is guilty. Let it go. You don't get respect because you're a sex change or your race or you're homosexual, whatever. Let that go. Respect is earned, not granted. You don't get respect because of your sex change or your race or your disability or whatever, or where you come from or your sex or whatever or your pronouns, whatever. You get respect because you earned it. If a person saved my life, which that has happened before, I'm going to respect them automatically, and they earned it. They saved my life. That happened days before my birthday in May. But if someone's going to tell me I should respect your pronouns and use your pronouns, why don't you use mine? Works both ways. Little girl, little trigger, little feminazis. You don't get respect because you're sex change, and you don't get respect because you're a cop. The only thing I will respect automatically, that everybody should respect automatically in the United States of America, is the law. You break the law, obey the law, you be arrested, and you face charges. You might go to jail or probation or whatever. And if you don't do that, you get even more consequences. Cops, it says to respect the law, not respect the officers. In the rules of the Constitution, it says respect the law of the land, which the land is the United States of America. It does not say respect the officers, because officers can not, they enforce the law. They are not the law, and they are not above the law, just like the president, but that's a different story. But in the end, good etiquette. Everyone is required to have good etiquette, but nobody has to respect anything or anyone except for one thing, the law. Both sides, any political party, all races, whatever letter you identify as, and whatever you come from, wherever you come from, whoever you are, what you are, and what you do. Favoritism, double standard, special treatment, and privilege is not in my vocabulary. Now, if you are privileged and became privileged, worked your butt off to become privileged and rich, that's a different story. Example, Boys to Men, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods. Boys to Men specifically, they came from the poor streets of Philadelphia and rose on top for a better life. Will Smith's another example, but that's a different story. These Koch brothers, Donald Trump, Mitt Romney, the Kardashians, the Hiltons, the Rockefellers, that's a different form of privilege and rich. It's not because it's white or whatever race they are. It's because of rich privilege, which is wealthy. I know a lot of people are going to say Chris Rock on that, but Chris Rock is right about this. Shaq is rich, Bill Gates is wealthy. Off the point on the Chris Rock on that. But there's 3 types of privilege. Make that 4. Household name. Hiltons, Trumps, Kardashians, the Johnsons, the Jones, the Kochs, whatever. Romneys. List goes on and on and on and on. That's privilege and favoritism by the last name. Another one is Kiewit. Think Omaha. Buffett, another one, but that's off the point. At least Warren Buffett, off the point. But as far as Koch brothers and Trumps and Kardashians and Hiltons, that's the privilege I hate the most, because they're the type to be born rich, die rich, and their kids will be rich, and even their grandkids will be rich. Pete Ricketts is a prime example of that privilege. And if you don't know politics, look up Nebraska Pete Ricketts. I don't like Pete Ricketts, and I don't like his father. What's his name? Joe. There's a reason why I don't like Joe Ricketts on top of Pete. My dad used to work at Ameritrade, and my aunt included at the time. They were hiring and firing at the time. Ameritrade doesn't even exist, and TD Ameritrade doesn't even exist either, because Pete Ricketts sold it, the Ricketts family sold that because they have a lot of privilege and a lot of money. And even their kids and their grandkids are now privileged. Joe Ricketts did 2 things. He did lay off my dad at the time, don't get me wrong, because they were losing money, because in 1999 there could have been another recession, but that actually was saved by some other reason. My dad was unemployed for 6 days. Remember, this is 1999. This is not what it is now. Thank God he got a job at a gas station, but that's off the point. Continuing. Later on, Joe Ricketts, Joe, not Pete, Joe, This is the father of Pete Ricketts, the senator now. So Pete Ricketts' father, Joe, said this on a tweet. He was about to be in the Creighton University Hall of Fame. If you don't know what Creighton University is, look up Omaha, Nebraska universities. Joe Ricketts said this about a Jewish slur, a Jewish joke on Twitter or whatever, heck, Facebook or whatever social media is. You know what the chancellor, Rasmussen or whatever his name is, they were about to celebrate the day, I think it was 2 days before or day before that, they were going to celebrate his Hall of Fame of Creighton University. When he said that Jewish tweet about them or whatever racist thing or religious thing he said about them, Rasmussen said this to everybody. Joe Ricketts is no longer allowed to make the Hall of Fame under my presence and the rest of the eternity of this Creighton University. What he said on Twitter was by him and from him and about Jewish people. That is not going to be tolerated in this university or anywhere in the common grounds of Creighton University. Joe Ricketts is no longer in the Hall of Fame, and he's not going to be inducted either. His gold statue and his presentation has been gone. It's over. It ain't going to happen. In other words, Joe Ricketts, you are a racist piece of crap. And Pete, you are not any better. You are the type of Husker fucker I see every day, and you are a privileged piece of shit. You fired my dad, and your son Pete is not any better. You are rich and privileged. You are the typical Husker fucker piece of crap I see every day in this town. I'm not saying you are much better than me or I'm better than you. You have been privileged well long before. You grew up rich. You were born rich. You will die rich. Even your grandkids will die rich. That's what you call privilege favoritism because of your last name and what you do in this state, which is pointless. Now, here's the thing. That's an example of what privilege is. That I'm not talking about race because there's no such thing as white privilege. Speaking of that, black people, Hispanics like me, and of course Asians, Arabs, or Middle Easterners, and Native Americans. I want to educate this on people as well. This is coming from a Hispanic, me, and I'm not Mexican like you Nebraskans think. You people in Nebraska think, oh, everything, if you're Hispanic, they think you're Mexican. I'm like, there's 25 other countries other than Mexico. Get educated on the rest of them when you go to Cancun to party and go to Cabo to fish. We're not all Mexican, white people. I'm Puerto Rican. I'm born in this country. And if you tell me to go back to my country, guess what? Puerto Rico is a country, but it's also owned by the U.S. So is Guam, so is U.S. Virgin Islands, and American Samoa. So when you tell me to go back to my country, aside from me born in this country, Puerto Rico is a country. It's owned by the U.S., by you people who brought this country almost 250 years ago. Yeah. Shh. So, with that being said, white people, go back to my country. I'm from here. And if I go back to my country, I'm still part of the U.S. And my grandma lives there too. And my godmother. So go back to my country. I'm from this country, dumbass. So to you people who have privilege, most of you did not work your butt off like Boys to Men and go up where you are. Just ask the Ricketts, the Johnsons, the Kardashians, the Hiltons, the Trumps, and most importantly, the Rockefellers. James P. Rockefeller was rich, and they are still rich to this day. Now we're in James P. Rockefeller the fourth. Maybe there's a James P. Rockefeller the fifth now, but off the point. To everybody, there's three types of privilege. One, rich privileged people. Sorry, there's three types of rich privileged people. One, like Boys to Men, they start their bottom, work their way up, and they're what they are today. Two, like Ricketts, they were born rich, proven rich, and they're going to stay rich and going to die rich, and their grandkids are going to stay rich, yada, yada, yada. That's two. And number three is the one that that thinks they're above the law because of their household name or whatever status they are, or because they are glorified, think they're God, like Donald Trump. That's another one. Yes, they could all have all three together or combine or one of the three or whatever, but that's what rich privilege is. From a Hispanic, there is no such thing as white privilege. There are black people that are much richer and more successful than I am, and they're not privileged. There are more white people who are less privileged than me, than myself. By the way, America, did you know there are more poor white people in this country than poor black people and Hispanics? Did you know there are more there are more white people on food stamps than black people and Hispanics combined? So when people say black people or Hispanics are always on welfare, I'm like, I'm not on welfare. I may get food stamps, but that's not welfare. Welfare is having 6 kids or how many kids you have, applying for TANF. TANF is welfare. That is not food stamps. I'm on food stamps. You know how much I get? $50. 50 out of the money I make on Social Security. You think $50 is going to somehow give me enough to eat for the rest of the whole month? Politicians, wake the F up. Both of you on Democrat and Republican. So, privilege does exist. And it's not just money. It has nothing to do with race. There are black people that are more privileged than I am. But most of them work their butt offs to get there. Shaq, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods. I can name so many more. But here's the thing I want to tell everybody as well. I don't give a rat's behind what letter you identify as, what race you are, what sex you are, both sex you are, or whatever LGBTQIA, elemental P, or whatever you are identify as. I'm not going to respect you because of that. I'm going to respect you because you earned it. So good etiquette and respect is not the same. I have never in my entire life demanded respect because I'm disabled or I'm Hispanic or whatever. But here's the thing a lot of you people do here in Nebraska. You think you know about autism. This is another thing I want to bring up real quick. This is what ableists do, and what you do is ableist. Black people, you are more ableist than white people. And I looked at the stats. I couldn't even imagine how many black ableists there are compared to white or Hispanic or whatever race. Off the point. But I'm going to tell you this. To every race and both sexes and whatever letter you identify and whatever pronouns you stupidly have, you people glorify a sex change much more than you people glorify anyone with a disability. And I'm not talking just my experiences. I'm talking about me as a bystander to other disabled individuals and other people who are disabled that I do not know about. If you say you know about autism, you don't. And here's what you people do a lot. I know so many autistics, they're not like you. I have a daughter with autism, or I have a son with autism, so I know about it. I worked with autism, so I know about it. Oh, stop it. You're using it as an excuse. Oh, you're not autistic. You don't look disabled. You're not disabled. You're using it as a crutch. Your disease doesn't get you a free pass to do that. Use your autism as an excuse to harass females. Well, you don't look autistic. You're not autistic. Well, you're a disease. I'm like, really? And you say you have a daughter with autism or you work with people with autism? Well, I'm going to tell you something, ableist snobs who do that all this time. And most of you are white. Because 8.5 times out of 10, it's normally a white person doing this to me. Yes, it's not just white people either. It's black people who do this to me too. And there's Hispanics and even Asians have done it. And even a Middle Eastern or a Muslim has done this to me too. I have a daughter with autism, so I know about it. No, you don't. You only know about it because of your daughter. So I'm going to tell you this, father. I have a father who created, so my father created me. I'm autistic. Does he know about autism, dumbass? No. He doesn't give a rat's behind about me. So does he know autism too? Or does he not give a rat's behind about it because he doesn't care about me? That's off the point why that's none of his business. But here's the thing. If you say I have a daughter with autism or something else so I know about it, That is what you're saying is because you only know it because of your daughter. So you ableist pieces of garbage, every single autistic is different. I don't have to look like special ed and that's autism, because there's a difference between Down syndrome and autism. Something you people don't understand. And it's not because you don't want to understand or you don't know how to understand. It's because you refuse to understand. And this ain't coming out of my mouth here. This is coming from Temple Grandin. I have met Temple Grandin, the smartest autistic in the United States. I've met her. Now, there's some things I don't support that she does off the point, whatever she does. That's completely off the point. But if you say you know autism, you don't. And just because you have a son or daughter with autism does not mean you know everything about autism. You only know it because of your fucking daughter or son. And that's a fact about you Nebraskans. Fact about you Nebraskans. Top 10 worst states for autism support? Nebraska. Top 10 worst states for disability support? All disabilities? Nebraska. Number 3 worst state for mental health awareness? Nebraska. Number 2 worst state for mental health, period? Yep, Nebraska. So when you people say Nebraska is so nice, lick it, you triggered, privileged little Husker fucker. And for sports, don't get me started. All you people do in Nebraska is glorify the Nebraska Huskers. And that's 85% of you fans. Now, I'm not saying all fans in Nebraska are terrible. I've met good fans that know about the Big Ten and know about sports. But here's the thing about you, typical 85% of you. You only care about the Huskers 24/7, 365 and think you're all that. You always glorify them and you're chicken to admit the facts. You haven't made a bowl game for almost 6 years. We'll make that 7. You haven't made a bowl game since Mike Riley was still the head coach. Yes, he made a bowl game twice. His first year and his second. Bet you don't remember that, Husker fans. You think you're just like Tennessee fans, and like Michigan, 15-0, 15-0, 15-0, 15-0, whatever it is now, whatever. You don't care about baseball. You don't care about baseball because of the college will say, and you think that's baseball. Go to the Yankees, go to the Braves, go to the Chicago Cubs, go to the Dodgers, or all these MLB teams. You'll see what real fans are. You fans in Nebraska don't like change, don't like this, and speaking of change, remember when Trev Alberts went to Texas A&M and then the true colors of Nebraska, the governor himself, Jim Pillen. Hey, Jim Pillen, how does it feel to not get what you want? Huh? Andrew Ozaki from KTV Newswatch 7, you just made the best news story of the year. Jim Pillen pleaded on his knees, crying his ass off, that told Trev Alberts via text just to please, because Trev Alberts knew something's not going to happen. So what Trev Alberts did, I don't like him, don't get me wrong, but I give Trev Alberts credit because I knew him in UNO. He was not any better at UNO before Nebraska, but off the point. Trev Alberts, I'll give him credit for this. He left Nebraska because he knows what Nebraska is going to become. So instead of him doing the crap and avoid getting fired or whatever reason later on, or whatever other reason, he decided to transfer and do the same job at Texas A&M, which is more delusional than Nebraska, don't get me wrong. Most delusional fans, number 1, A&M, Texas A&M specific. And number 2, yep, Nebraska. So Nebraska, do you know a lot about sports? You can't even know the difference between Michigan and Michigan State, most of you. Old people, you don't even know the difference either. I went to so many places and they don't even understand the difference. There's some Husker fans that don't even know the difference. Hey, I'm a Michigan State fan, not a Michigan fan. I hate Michigan as much as you guys do. I'll be honest, the Husker players are much better than the fans themselves. And remember, I'm not saying all fans of Nebraska are terrible, but you're not the nicest. LSU tops your ass by a landslide. And by the way, the best stadiums, the most beautiful fan-based stadiums, you know what, Nebraska? You don't even make the top 10 anymore. You're number 14. You know who number 1 is? Yep, LSU. And I'm not even a Tiger fan. And by the way, you are no longer a football state. You're a volleyball state. It's time to glorify volleyball. But you were not all true fans, though. Because when John Cook was really terrible and when you wanted him fired, and I remember this story twice, now you want to glorify volleyball because all you have is that because Huskers suck dick. But her dad sports. online. Heard That Sports. They did a thing like we're Nebraskans, you know, all this stuff, which is true. I'm from Nebraska, I know. Not a Husker fan, but off the point. They said, in quote, we're Nebraskans. We're Nebraskans. The College World Series is another version of our high school reunion. Right there. I've been saying that long before you people want to, oh, it's not like that. It's not like that. We're not all like that. That's just 0.01% of the fans. Shove it. Shove it. All you people care about is Husker fucker football, 24/7, 365. And if you don't get what you want, you yell, fire the coach, fire the rest. You blame the refs, you blame this, you blame the play, you blame this. You people are bipolar on win. Because if they would have been 15, oh, he's the best, he's the GOAT. Husker fans, you are hypocritical, uneducated on everything about sports. And another thing about the Big Ten. There's now 18 teams. You ain't going to win the Big Ten, or let alone the national championship. You'd be lucky if you make a bowl game. And I'll give you credit. Your team is much nicer than the fans themselves. You don't give a fuck about baseball here, unless it involves an old Husker. You don't give a fuck about basketball, unless it involves a Husker in the NBA or the MLB or whatever. You don't give a fuck about the Olympics, unless it involves a Husker. Yeah. You people in Nebraska don't care about other sports unless it has a former Husker or a Nebraska boy in the damn sport, like Terrence Crawford. Now, hold on. Bud. I like Bud Crawford. I met him twice. He's awesome. But here's the problem. He was never a Nebraskan. He was never a Husker. If he was a Husker, you would have been treating him differently. Gene Stothert, Don Bacon, Pete Ricketts. Can I name more? Huh? Fake is so Nebraska nice. Are you sure you're Nebraska nice? Or are you just too chicken to admit the facts? Hook, line, sinker. Nebraska, eat a Snickers. Why? Because you don't know shit about sports unless it involves your sorry-ass Huskers. Governor Jim Pillen, you don't care at all. You just got your ass blown away and blown out of proportion because you didn't want Trev Alberts to go. Andrew Ozaki from KTV Newswatch 7, you have won the News Story of the Year, and my best friend, even I couldn't believe this. I thought he did. My best friend predicted from a long time ago, even before I met him, that Nebraska Huskers have politics on them. I did not know this, and I didn't believe him. And I'm a Husker hater. I didn't believe him either. My own best friend, who's a Husker fan himself and related to Bob Gibson, my best friend said this. I didn't want to believe him either. And I don't like the Huskers at all. He was right. Andrew Ozaki from KTV Newswatch 7, you have just won the News Story of the Year. And it may not win an Emmy, but it gave you the award for the best news story of the year in Omaha. Andrew Ozaki, you are the winner. Thank you for proving me right about these Husker fucker fans that don't care unless it involves them. You're not real MLB fans, unless you really were a true fan. Now, if you're 9 years of age or older and became a fan like me back in the day, I was 7, became a Braves fan, all that stuff, whatever, or 5, whatever. Yes, if you're 9 years old and became a fan because of one, yeah, that's a different story. But if you're 25, 18, 36, 46, 52, or even 65, and became a Chief fan before Alex Smith was on that team, you're not a real Chief fan. You're just a Chief fan because of Patrick Mahomes or Alex Smith, or because your team is good now. I'm still a Broncos fan all this time. I've been here the whole time being a Broncos fan since the year 2000, and I still am hearing all this Chief shit and Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce with this Taylor Swifty garbage. I've been here the whole time. And when my rise comes again, which it did for a little bit, I've been quiet the whole time with your Chief stuff. And when we beat you on the weekend of Halloween, oh, I troll your sorry queef ass. Nebraska fans, you are not real fans unless there's a Husker player in that thing. Alex Henry, Ndamukong Suh. Oh, can I name more? Roy Helu Jr., Prince of Nakamura. I'm not shading them. I'm shading you, glorifying them because you're not a real fan of those teams. Prove me wrong. Now, if you're the Eagles and that's the DJ's dugout, those are real fans. I love them. Anthony, Al, I love you both. I miss you guys. But to these Husker fans, you just don't like change. But that's Nebraska for you, so go figure. Nebraska. And as far as Megan Hunt, you said on quote, the team, name, mascot, fans, and the entire organization of the Atlanta Braves is racist. Good evening. Megan Hunt, you used to be a racist. My best friend, that same best friend of mine, knows you real well. Your family is beyond racist. He can tell you that story about when he was a kid playing your dad's team versus the team he was in North Omaha. The ump called a bad call, and I do remember this real well. The coach, that best friend of mine, and a few others tried to refrain the coach from fighting the ump from getting arrested for a bad call. They left that stadium. And guess what? You were there as well as your father, and you were racist well before you became bisexual and or whatever you are. So, Megan Hunt, you think I should respect your sex change or your sexual orientation or whatever people that do this? You know there's pedophiles that also are LGBT. You know there's also people who murder that LGBT. Look at the school shooters. 3 of them in the last year are transgender. You think I should respect those transgenders too? Respect those people who are murderers and do school shootings? So, kids, teens, adults, and all races around the world and everybody around the nation, learn that good etiquette is required, not respect. So, name one time I demanded respect because I'm autistic. I'll wait. So if I use my autism as an excuse, what about the transgenders you people glorify that say respect my trans homies I identify as a effing problem? You want me to respect that too? You don't get respect because your sex change or homosexuality or what pronouns you are or what race you are. You get respect because you earned it. So, Nebraska, you don't give a fuck about people with disabilities. And the facts don't lie. And if anyone jokes about rape, just remember, who jokes about rape more, men or women? You'd be surprised. Women. And even the stats shocked me. Anyone who jokes about rape deserves to be raped so they can think it really is a joke when they come at them. I don't respect anyone who jokes about rape. My 2 friends of mine that I still talk to this day could tell you a story that happened in North Omaha Sports Bar when 5 women, grown-ass women, 40 plus years of age, joked about rape and everybody in that sports bar wanted to avoid them. I almost wanted to fight them, but I decided to reprimand them in front of everyone. I got an award, and kudos for that. Imagine if these were 5 grown men who joked about rape. They would have been jumped by all women. So, you women, you want respect? Why don't you give it back? Oh wait, it's earned, right? Well, earn it. Just remember who sinned first in the Bible. Yeah. My time is up. Done.